Welcome to your 12-minute HR lesson. Today, I'm going to warn you about the dangers of sugar. Not specifically sugar, but the dangers of sugary slogans, jingoistic fake learning, little things that give us a little buzz that makes us think that we're having an insight, but the reality is we're not doing anything different that we didn't do before. And to me, that's the test. Am I a little bit better, and will I be better in the future from this thing that made my brain go, oh, interested? Let's go. An old colleague got in contact with me today, and she sent through this suggestion. She listens to the podcast, and she'd seen something. She said, oh, this is really interesting. Maybe you could do something on this. And I looked at it, and I thought, I don't think you quite get me, which is perfectly understandable, which prompted me thinking, maybe I need to be explicit about what I'm trying to do, different to everybody else. Hopefully you get this implicitly, but let me explain it to you explicitly. Not why I'm better than everybody else, but why I'm different to everybody else. Will she mind the fact that I've now put her on a pedestal to knock her off? I think she probably won't. I think overall she'll get a kick out of being mentioned. So first, let me tell you about what she sent me. It was, I think, some fashion designer passed away recently. She saw how someone else had written how being an innovative designer is like being an innovative manager. It's about being bold. It's about being different. It's about being daring. And I looked at that and went, that's not my shtick. That's happy for someone else to do that, but that's not me. So let me explain why it's not me. There's an interesting thought experiment that poses this. If you could be good and successful in something, what would you do? That could be music, that could be dancing, that could be writing. My answer is comedy. I'd like to be a comedian. If you've met me face to face, you'd probably get that. It doesn't really come across with my dry discussion on these podcasts. But I know that if that's what I decided to do with my life, I would probably be okay, but I wouldn't be particularly successful. And there's reasons why. One, I'm not quite quick enough. The other is I would be trying to overthink it. I would be trying to sell social insight, trying to create complex ideas, and I would forget to tell the jokes. I would be trying to be Chris Rock all the time, and we'll come back to Chris Rock. But jokes are easy to do simply, and simple jokes are generally quite bad jokes. You only have to look at a average to poor comedian where their material seems to be riffing on men and women and racial groups and other racial groups and ethnic groups and groups within society. What they tend to do is boil these things down to simple stereotypes. Men all be like ... women all be like ... These people tend to be ... And it's lazy and it's cheap and it's not very clever and it kind of works, but they're cheap laughs. They're not very clever. They're not very insightful. They're kind of the equivalent of eating a greasy burger. Yes, you enjoy them, but you feel a bit afterwards. No one finds them insightful. It doesn't fire anyone's brain. And I would be forever trying to get you to think and forgetting to get you to laugh. Chris Rock, perhaps, creates the most interesting and complex sets of jokes. His setups and his scenarios are 2 to 3 minutes long. They're long and they're complicated, and he has to spend a lot of time building up to get to both the punchline and the point that he's getting through, and they're very complex. Yes, he talks about men. Yes, he talks about women. Yes, he talks about race. But he's not just reducing people to simple stereotypes. He's giving you insight that makes you go, oh yeah, no, that's quite funny and also quite true. his platonic friends are just, well, you never know, and women can't go backwards, and he lives next door to a dentist, are all very complicated and interesting ideas that he has to spend a lot of time building. So what am I trying to say here? What I'm trying to say is I'm trying to be Chris Rock. I'm trying to give you complex ideas. I'm trying to give you nuance. I'm avoiding being reductive, reducing things down to simple, short slogans about how toxic managers are bad. You only have to look through LinkedIn to see there's 1,000,001 people out there, probably AI generated, producing a lot of short, sharp, snappy, simplistic insights that don't get us anywhere. I'm not saying these people are wrong. I'm just saying I'm trying to be different. I'm trying to be different because I'm giving you complex ideas that takes me 12 minutes to explain. I need 12 minutes of your time for you to get this idea in your head so you can actually do things differently. And to me, that is the proof in the pudding. That is the actual, if I achieve it, then I've achieved something. The test as to whether or not I've achieved it or not is whether or not you do things differently in the future. Let's take magic words as a good example. We covered that last week. Magic words is a complex idea. I can't put that in a short, sharp slogan that I can guarantee that you will get. Maybe you will, maybe you won't, but I think I need to take 12 minutes to explain it to you. Hopefully now that it's lodged in your brain, that you've processed it and you've thought about it, it sits there below the surface to then potentially pop up into your conscious brain when needed, when you're sitting in that situation and the person says sorry, and before you would have gone, oh great, sorry, tick, move on, now you can go, hang on, tell me more. I'm not going to repeat magic words. If you're not too sure what I mean, go back and listen to magic words. But that's the idea. It's not learning if you keep doing the same thing that you did before. If someone is giving you a simple solution and you go, oh yeah, that's interesting, and then continue what you've done before, then that simple solution sucks. Things are only worth it if we actually learn from it. And the only way we learn from it is that if we do something different next time. So much of learning is not when we go to university or when we go away on courses. It's a series of micro lessons, small lessons we learn from mistakes, lessons we learn from thinking about it, little triggers in our brain that makes us go, okay, next time, little refinements that we take along the way that we do things next time. Don't only listen to me, but recognize that I'm trying to do something different, not because I'm trying to do things differently, but also because I think that is real impactful learning rather than superficial learning. It's very easy for us to look at something that's insightful and that's empowering. It gives us a warm buzz. But a warm buzz isn't learning, it's the illusion of learning. It's the difference between actually having a meal and eating a bunch of chocolate. It doesn't get you very far and you're exactly where you were before once that buzz wears off. The real test with learning is, what am I going to do differently from that? Can I imagine a situation where next time, instead of X, I'll do X plus 1 or X slightly differently, or I will improve my game or improve my decisions or improve my output or whatever it is, something that with this little bit of learning, I'll be a little bit better next time. That was a little bit shorter today. Hopefully you get it. Hopefully you get the idea. Hopefully you get the idea that taking our time to learn something complicated is worth the time, even if it only took you 9 minutes today instead of 12. Otherwise, thank you for listening. Please have a look at our website. Please have a look at our services. Please have a look at our courses. You don't have to. If you don't want to, it's not a problem. If you're happy to pay us back in a small way, we'd very much appreciate it. Please share us. Please repost us. Please like us. Please pass us on in any way. These things are word of mouth. The more that you recommend or let other people know that this is worth listening to, the more likely they are to listen to it. And you might not need us one day, but maybe they will. Other than that, I'll catch you next time. Thanks.